Welcome to Alberta Football Uncensored. I'm your host, Tej Johannesson. With me, as always, is my co-host, Omari Fraser. We are into our second high school episode today. I'm really excited about this one. We are previewing, Omari, two teams from your neck of the woods. You've got close relationships with a lot of people on these teams. And also, it is the ASAA Game of the Week. And we couldn't be more excited to cover it and to bring it to all you guys and all the listeners for this game. I've heard, Omari, I haven't been there, but I've heard, so this is the Notre Dame Pride and the St. Francis Browns. I've heard that they have to get McMahon Stadium because they have too many people coming to the games. Is that a true story?
It is a very, very true story. And I've experienced this being a student and having friends who play in this game, and as well now being on the other side as an adult. And it's crazy. Like I remember the games they had at Shouldice where it was literally, you play even the Shouldice. It's one side Francis, one side ND, in the middle are the parents. The parents are kind of like the dividers of it, and then that's the game typically too where the police get involved. Not to anything crazy, but just to ensure all the smoothness is going through and the kids aren't doing anything too crazy. But it's awesome to see the environment that these two schools bring, because you then get that true high school feel, high school stadium feel where fans are cheering, they got the chants going, everything. So I can only imagine to be a player and to have, your school backing you or another school cheering against you and to play on. So I'm sure we're going to be quite excited to see hear from our two athletes we have here. And I think it's awesome that it's at McMahon because it shows the growth of the game, and as well, I guess the sheer capacity to hold all the energy in.
Are you going to be there, Omari?
Yeah, I'll be there. This is definitely a game that it's always fun. It was fun to watch. I know there's a handful of kids on both teams that it's going to be fun to watch them play at a high level, and this is now one where the coaching is at all time high at a next level too. Because these two guys, there's some history that I don't know, but I'm hoping today we're going to dive into. But at least we'll know some more on the background side of things.
Yeah, that's what we want to do. We want to bring you a lot of interesting information in this podcast, as well as previewing the game, as well as promoting coaches, coaching tactics, and the players. And so we have David DeLuzio and two players who, Amari, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce these two guys because you know them a little bit. So go ahead and introduce our two players tonight.
Yeah, so we have number 5, Devin Zhang out of not India. I know Dev for a long time, known him since he was 10, and it's been cool to see him grow up through the game. Pee Wee, Bantam, spring in high school. Now it's been cool to see him grow and develop into the player he is now, and it's just super exciting to see the growth and just the the different aspects he brings to the game. And one thing I love with how Coach Dave is just using him in all different parts and everything. I think that's so cool because it's just been one thing where you just see the potential in a player and it's been fully maximized and he's doing it, having a lot of fun. And man, it's always awesome to see that for, kids that, you take them. So yeah, get them when they're young and just seeing reach their potential is pretty cool. And our second player, number 4, Lucas Scott. This is now where I this is actually my first time hearing it because I think he has some AFL ties, with his dad being Donnie Scott, all-star linebacker, to now Lucas Scott, who's well on his way to becoming an all-star here, just with what I've seen him play. And man, I don't know what it is, but there's some LB, superstar genes in the Scott bloodline, and Lucas is having some fun with it, and just seeing him fly around and just how he moves, it's super surreal, just because there's a I guess the father's side, the son's side, and man, it's super cool. But he's also making his own name, and which is super exciting to see. So definitely pumped to have Lucas and Dev on. And Coach DeLuzio, I mean, you have quite a resume yourself. Like, I'm pretty sure you have a trophy cabinet full of rings, full of trophies and everything. And I'm definitely excited to pick your brain too, because I know you have a ton of football knowledge, and I hear from a ton of players, from this generation, from when I played, and even beyond. So looking forward to diving into this one here.
Awesome. Thanks, Omari. Coach David, just quickly, can you just introduce yourself to our listeners, kind of your starting spot as a coach and up until where you are now?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. This is an awesome podcast, and I think high school athletics and obviously high school football is like a hidden gem. And there's so many great stories out there from with kids and coaches and programs. So it's awesome you guys are bringing attention to this. I've been at Notre Dame since the beginning, so it's hard to believe this is year 20. This is our
Wow.
20th year of having a team. We did a little deal in COVID, not much, but we got some practices in. That's strange, 2020 year, but yeah, I've been very lucky to be here. I haven't been at a lot of places. Before Notre Dame, I coached and taught at Bishop McNally. I was there for 9 years, and in Northeast Calgary, and I really loved it. I really loved it there. And then I coached 1 year um, at St. Francis in way back in 1995. That was my first year of coaching. That was my practicum year in school, and I got to coach there, and kind of obviously fell in love with the coaching part of the sport. So those are I guess that's my coaching bio from a high school perspective. I did coach. I got to coach Calgary Colts for a couple of years, for 2 years in 2003 and 2004. It was a great experience. I always tell people, people are just saying how hard it was to coach the Colts, and we won our first game, and I thought, well, this is going to be terrific. Then I lost 15 games straight after, and I got canned after that. So it was a very eye-opening experience there. But I really enjoyed working with the older kids and stuff at that level too. So that's my kind of coaching in a nutshell.
Awesome. What years was that with the Colts for you?
It was 2003 and 2004. So
Okay.
and then a couple years after, John Stevens came from the Dinos, and he actually built it up. They were 8-0, 8-0 1 year, and it's just a tough, it's just a tough kind of environment. I think having Danny Craig there now is really good for the program, because
Hmm.
he's a Colt through and through, and I think if they have some coaches there that I've kind of been through it and are committed with staying there for a while, I think they can be successful.
Yeah, and Dan Craig, another kind of former AFL guy too,
Yeah,
quarterback
nice.
in the league. Cool. I appreciate that, Coach. Lucas, to you, just a little kind of introduction to yourself. What got you started playing football? What was that team, and where are you now? What position you play, and all that great stuff.
All right, I'm Lucas Scott. I would say my dad introduced me to football. I've been playing since I was 7 years old on Hilltoppers. I'm a middle linebacker and outside linebacker, but my main position is middle. And yeah, just I'm loving the sport, and it's amazing. And D's just great, and yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. Devin, what about you?
Yeah, so my mom got me into football. She's pretty big because she's from the States, and she used to play football herself, so I think it was kind of written in the stars that I was going to play too. And
Oh, nice.
yeah, so I started off with the Mavericks here in Calgary. I played actually offensive tackle, if you could believe it. And over the years, I actually started to train with Amari because I went to Raw and I wanted to be a running back, and my coach was Amari, so that's how I met him, and we kind of just trained for like 6, 7 years now to get me to where I am. So he was a huge part of like my development. And right now I'm number 5, running back, receiver, Notre Dame Pride. Yeah, that's
Awesome,
about it.
man. Number 5 is the best number. That's my number as well. And Omari's
Yeah,
number.
that's
We've
my
got a bunch
answer.
of 5s over here. Let's go. Funny story. I think I've told this on the podcast, but I'll tell you guys. I joined Omari's team for the Wolfpack in 2022, and I offered the guy $100 for the number 5, and he turned me down. And you know what I told him? I said I wouldn't have respected you if you sold the number for $100. So you passed the test, and then I wore number 22. So yeah, a little story. That's a good number. Devin, where did your mom play football?
She played in Maryland. She's from Harrisonsburg, I'm pretty sure. And she played, back then it was called Powder Puff. Now it's just flag football.
Yeah.
Yeah, she used to tell me she played middle linebacker and she tackled a girl in flag football, and that's like her go-to story. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's got a go-to story. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Coach, coming back to you, your program has a really rich history of success, and you've been there the entire time, like you just said, 20 years. what have been the keys to developing that? And like, what are some things that you could, speak of to other coaches who want to build a program of success? Like, what are just some certain things that are almost like your non-negotiables and the things that really built your program up to be where it is and as strong as it is today?
Well, I think first and foremost, you need players. You need players, and we've been really blessed here to have kids, walking through our building that are really passionate about football, and football is important to them. So I think that's key. I think stability with your coaching staff is important. There's so many of us that have been together here at Notre Dame for a super long time. So that really helps, just in terms of kind of everybody's on the same page, and then bringing players back to coach, the former players back to coach has been just huge because the young kids they see that, and I think when I say a message, sometimes maybe it goes on deaf ears, but if a former player that's a coach says it, it means a lot more. So I think that's something that we've been lucky, and our kids do a real good job of committing to the team, and just the things we ask for them during the in season, and especially in the off season. It's really great to see. In terms of like any young coaches out there, I think the biggest thing is find a mentor, and it doesn't have to be a football coach. It
Mm-hmm.
could be a coach in another. It could be a coach in another sport. It could be even a leader at a job, but just find somebody that you can kind of relate to, and kind of understand really how to lead. I think that's real important for a coach, and especially a young coach. Just try to find yourself somebody that's been through it and has seen a lot of things. And I've been really lucky, like being a graduate of St. Francis. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about them before the big game on Friday, but just having Gary DeMann as a mentor, and as a coach when I played. I always knew I was going to be a teacher. I always knew I was going to be a coach. So he really opened my eyes. And then also Joe Stambini, who coached there as well, and I got to coach with him for 1 year before I started my teaching career. Those guys just really kind of showed me the way, and really opened my eyes to kind of how things can be done if you're disciplined and committed, and kind of give the kids an environment where they can be successful.
Yeah, I really love that. Especially the part of get a mentor. I think that's simple advice that I don't think is said. That's the first time we've heard it on the podcast, and I don't know if I've ever thought about that. But I know in my own life I've done it. I remember when I was a really young basketball coach, I was going to school in Edmonton and coaching junior high girls basketball, and I would spam email college coaches and high school coaches, and just with the copy paste of, can I come watch your practice? I want to come watch your practice. I want to see, how do you run a practice? How do you do certain things? And to my shock, most of them said yes. And I was able to go and watch high level, even university practices, and seeing how they're run. And what I found fascinating was, the more that, you can see these types of things and types of people, is how much different you realize so many people are, but how it's not different isn't worse, it's actually better. And I realized that as a young coach. So I think that's great advice to anyone trying to get into coaching, is really just be a learner and be wanting to learn. Omari, go ahead.
I want to take it to the players here. First off, quick little pop quiz. Lucas and Dev, what's your favorite subject in school?
Dev, you want to go first?
Now you can go first.
All right. My favorite subject is math, and I've always just been like pretty okay with math and just getting a solid grade in it. So, yeah.
Nice. Dev, for yourself?
I think I'm a bio person because I did pretty well in it, so I think it's just my favorite now.
Nice.
That
Good to
makes
hear.
sense to me.
That's good to hear. I know. I'm sure you guys always hear about academics always being a big part of playing football at the next level. So it's good to hear you guys got some favorite subjects, and to tie that into next level here. Deb, I know you with you being grade 12. This is your senior year. Next level definitely on your mind there. And Lucas, I take it that's something for yourself too that you're hunting down.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. And I'll let Dev answer first, but I guess being that you're in grade 12, but what are you excited for? What are you excited for the next level to bring in? I don't want you don't need to announce anywhere you're going, but just
No,
what you're excited for. This doesn't need to be your official announcement or anything like that. We're here to
no,
talk what you're looking forward to.
sure. I think I'm just excited about the culture because you have guys like wherever you go in high school, there's going to be guys that don't take this thing as seriously as coaches or even like leaders want them to. But I think at the next level, it's everyone wants to be there, everyone wants to get better, and it's just going to bring out the best in me. And I'm just excited for the competition because there's going to be guys that been there for 3 or 4 years that I'm going to have to compete with, and it's going to be hard, but it's just going to push me to be better. And at the end of the day, like that's all I want. So that's what I'm
Nice.
most excited about.
Nice. Love to hear it. And Lucas, for yourself?
Yeah, getting to that, it's the same as basically as Devin said. Get the culture, everyone just wanting to be there and just having that competition and pushing you to be better.
Perfect. And just my last question before I hand out to Teej. Lucas, I'll have you answer first. How do you guys feel playing for ND has prepared you guys for that as an athlete and as a person?
ND is amazing. It prepares you for everything with football and outside of it. Football at ND will teach you lessons for life.
Awesome.
Oh, and then Dev, you go, and then I actually have a spin-off question here for you just to
Okay.
give Dev, let you answer, then I'll answer my last
Sure.
spin-off
Yeah.
question.
I personally think because ND, like, it's just different. We prepare and we train like youth sports teams because it's the hours we put in. It's no one can really understand that until you get to the next level. I feel like, and I think most importantly for these coaches, especially, it's not about football mainly. It's their main goal is to develop men. And on the field, they never treat us like 16, 17, 18-year-olds. They treat us like grown adults, like men. We're held to such a high standard because that's how we're going to be in life. And it's kind of like a snapshot of the real world. It just brings out the best in us.
That's a great answer. I'll hand it back to you.
Yeah. So Coach, coming back to you, and well, by the way, Lucas and Devin, appreciate those answers, and I love hearing that as a coach, Devin, because I hope my players feel the same about me, and I know that in this context, your coach definitely likes hearing that from you. So more players should tell their coaches what they like and what they don't like, so because we can't read your minds. So I appreciate that, and I'm sure your coach does too. Coach. When it comes to, and this is a question that I think as a younger coach, I struggled with a lot. And I think a lot of young coaches do. How do you approach developing your players' skill and also mixing in the scheme of what you're doing? So how do you find a balance in not spending too much time on scheme, spending enough time on development, and how are you doing that and trying to develop these players for the next level?
Yeah, it's definitely tough because I find that players nowadays, I think they're athletically way better than they were, say, 10 years ago. But I think football wise, just I think I think they're watching a little less football. I think they're watching snapshots of it and they're playing Madden and they're doing fantasy. But so there is that kind of fine line because as a kind of an old school coach, I could do skill like for the whole practice. Like I could do like, okay, we have to go 12 on 12. I don't want to go 12 on 12. I can have a skill period for the whole time. So it's just that fine line to try to keep things um, try to keep things as simple as possible. And it's tough. Like that's a tough thing, and I struggle with it. I struggle with it every day. But you wanna kind of have your drills kind of teach the skills, and then to kind of get ready for the 12 on 12 stuff. I know just being a linebacker coach that we just try to break things down really small things that we do in the individual period, and then hopefully those carry over into the 12-on-12 thing. But it's definitely a battle, and football's football's a tough sport because it's not like a sport like basketball, like you're practicing twice a week and you're playing 2 or 3 times a week. Football, like you got that one chance every week, and that's it. So you got to kind of really maximize your time of practicing, and it's definitely an art and science. And I think from a kid perspective, they just want to play. Like they don't want to hit the sled. They don't want to do linebacker drops. They want to play 12-on-12. So I think you got to kind of make it kind of fun and worthwhile for them too. But I do think that players at every level, whether it's these high school kids or even pro guys, if they know as a coach that you can tell them something that can help them, you got them hooked. So
Yeah.
it's trying to give them those nuggets that will help them, on Friday nights or on Saturdays whenever you're playing.
Yeah. And Devin had mentioned something that I think is really important, and I know Mari does as well, of treating them like men and developing them into men. How do you as a coaching staff, and I think every coaching staff is a little bit different and unique in how they interact with their players, but is this something that is on your mind as far as on purposely going about things in a way to treat these guys like men? Like, what does that look like from your perspective with what Devin had said?
I think first and foremost, it's trying to be a mentor, and we're not perfect, and I'm certainly not perfect. It's funny, as coaches, we talk about having poise, and having control, and then you're yelling at the kids for the simplest things, and so I sometimes I have to reflect on that. Often I have to reflect on that myself too. But I just think that one thing I like to tell kids all the time is like you're going to be an ex-football player a lot longer than you're a football player, so kind of use the sport to make you better. And there's so many like intrinsic values that you get from all sports, but especially football, because I was thinking about this today because I knew some of the questions you guys were going to ask in advance, but it's such a weird game. Like Tom Brady's greatest game was maybe the Falcons comeback, and he started that comeback by the end of the first half throwing the worst pick six in the history of football, and then he went from that where he's getting destroyed at halftime to winning the game for him in the fourth quarter, the greatest comeback ever. So and things like that happen like every game. So
Mhm.
and unfortunately sometimes life mimics football where you have a good day and then unfortunately sometimes you have bad days. So I think football helps you to kind of deal with those things. So that part's really important. And the older I get, unfortunately, and I just see that yeah, it's important to you want to win games and you want to have banners and all that stuff, but like really in the end, like you want these kids to have a good experience and you want them to be good teammates, and so I think that especially as I go along my coaching journey here, it's become really a lot more important for me.
Yeah, I really appreciate that answer, and it's something that again I'm the same way with like when I'm as a younger coach, I don't think I paid enough attention to that, and as I've gotten older, it's become apparent, and it's become apparent because I've seen it happen. I've seen these kids grow up and become men. I've got to the point now where the first group of kids I was coaching are almost 30 years old. And so for me, it's like I've seen it happen and realized that that's a big part of it, especially since they all still, or many of them still are in communication with me and we talk quite often. I think that's really special. Omari.
Lucas, I wanted to ask you a question here is, who would you say you model your game after? And with that, what players inspire you on the defensive side of the ball?
I try to model my game after my dad, and watching him excel during his career pushed me to do like as good as he did, if not better. And like seeing him play this season and all the seasons before just helped me learn the position and inspire me to perform to the best of my ability.
That's awesome. And what follow-up question, what would you say was your uh favorite play watching your dad from the summer?
Uh, there was a lot of good ones, but he had some big hits, and just seeing him celebrate after it was just amazing to see. and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
that's awesome. That's awesome. And then Dev, for you now, who do you model your game after, and who inspires you on the offensive side of the ball?
Um, I'd say this, like, you guys know Marshall Falk, like back in the day, the running back. Like, he's the one who kind of got me into football. I think I just saw one of his highlights, like, wow, like, that's something.
That's pretty
Like,
cool.
I want to try to do that. Yeah, right. I think now it's not I have idols. I don't look up to anyone. It's more of like I've seen these clips just of whoever, and it's like, oh, okay, I could do that. Like, it's just
Mm.
watching the pros play, watching guys at the next level play, and knowing like how can I, you know, like raise my level to kind of be at that level. So I think it's just watch a lot of football and just kind of pick pieces away from different players and trying to like put them into my game.
Nice. I like that. I like that. And then for both of you, I'm not sure when you guys have your next big away game, but you guys are all packed on the bus, long bus ride ahead. What movie is the team picking for the bus ride?
Personally, I think that we would pick Remember the Titans. It's one of my favorite football
Yes.
movies,
Yeah, me
and
too.
it's just inspiring
Yeah.
and reminds me of the importance of teamwork. And yeah,
That's the only answer, Omari. This is the thing.
Yeah,
Nobody has ever given that answer, and it is literally the only good answer. Remember the Titans? I watch every single day before the first game of my season for my entire life. That's my ritual for the day before the first game. It is the greatest football movie, and anyone who says otherwise, Lucas Scott is completely correct on this, and I will die on that hill.
Devin, what's yours? And then Coach will ask you as well.
I don't want to be the boring guy and say the same answer, but that's my mom's favorite movie. But I'll pick the next best thing, probably Friday Night Lights.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
I get behind that.
All right, Coach. I know you probably have a long history of movies to pick from. What's one of your favorite?
It's funny. Obviously, those are all really good choices. Last year we did a long road trip to Vancouver, and we watched a lot of football movies. And I brought out an old one, The Program. The Program
Ooh,
is it's really old school kind of. It's a terrible movie, but it's a good football movie. Being being from Notre Dame High School, Rudy's also a big football movie too. But honestly, like, has there ever been a bad football movie? They're all good. Like, they're all good. Any movie about football has been good.
they are. The one thing I find when it comes to Hollywood sometimes is where I feel like I always wonder, like, when these Hollywood guys are like writing the movie and everything, do they have like a football coach in the writing room being like, hey, like, this is the play you're gonna run, this is you're gonna do, like, don't be doing any of this like Hollywood stuff, like reach around like proper football plays. And then I know
They have to. They have to, right? Like, otherwise it'd be irresponsible. Like, I've always thought they did. I'm going to go with that.
anyways,
Because, like, if you think of Remember the Titans, right? Like, they're talking about, I mean, they at least did their research because they're talking about doing the veer and all that stuff. And that's not like simplistic stuff. So, like, they had to have someone in there that knew what they were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe Denzel himself just knew. I don't know. Guy can do
maybe.
everything.
And then there's some movies, more TV shows I find where they have like some of the actors, their form is, call it questionable. Like there's that one guy throwing the ball, but he's like converting it like like a shot player.
Yeah, they can't find any good football player actors. Coach, I want to talk about the game coming up this week a little bit now. First of all, talk to me about this Notre Dame St. Francis rivalry. So you said Notre Dame's been around for 20 years, which would be 2004, and St. Francis has been around for how long?
It's probably they're probably getting on 65 years pretty soon. They had their 50th.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Probably 10, 12 years ago. So yeah, we started playing our first game. So our Notre Dame's first year was 2005, and we made it. We got to Division One in 2008. That was the first time that we played them, and it was funny. There was just so much hype about the game, even before the game even started, and that game was played at the old Shouldice. It was on grass, and I just
Mhm.
remember them turning people away, and then the following year it's been kind of held at always been held at McMahon in 2021, kind of the COVID kind of weird year after we played back at Shouldice, but yeah, it's always been at McMahon, and I think it's I think it's great for just I think it's just a great environment for these high school kids to play in to play in a in a packed stadium and all that stuff. You know, like selfishly, I wish we just played at Hellard. I just wish we would play at uh, at Shouldice and pack the place there. But it is pretty neat, seeing the sections at McMahon packed, and it is pretty crazy. I'll tell the kids, I'll tell them tomorrow, don't you look in the stands, but I'll catch myself looking up there too and thinking, holy cow, this is pretty
Yeah.
this is pretty big. But yeah, it's a big rivalry. But I think the schools, there's so much interconnection with the schools and the players and stuff like that. That's what makes it neat. Like, most of the kids know each other. A ton of them have played with each other, growing up in community football and Pee Wee and Bantam, and then they play with each other in spring. So it's kind of neat. The coaches, we all know each other too. So it's definitely
Mhm.
a neat environment and kind of fun to be, it's fun to be a part of it.
And how are your guys feeling? I know you had a short week of practice this week, but how are you guys feeling? Yourself and your players. You guys feeling ready to go? And what are you kind of expecting from your group this week?
I think, I think that this year our kids have shown to be kind of resilient. I think we had, um, I think we had kind of our first game jitters against LCI, and then we had the Raymond experience that, unfortunately, or fortunately for Raymond, but unfortunately for their opponents, they're a really, really good football team that, they play really hard. And then we had a tough battle with Ernest Manning that I thought our kids played really, really hard in that game, and then we got it kind of on track last week against All Saints. But you always know when you play St. Francis that they're gonna it's gonna be a physical game. It's gonna be kind of a November type hitting game in October, and there's gonna be a lot of collisions and just I think there's a lot of pride on the line, and I think both teams are gonna come out and give a huge effort, and I think I think this is always kind of the case is it is a little stressful for the coaches, let me tell you, but the players as well, just to kind of play in this environment. So I think the team that kind of handles that the best will have the best chance to be successful.
Yeah, and Lucas, did you play in this game last year at McMahon?
Yes, I did.
And how was that experience for you last year?
Yeah, it's an amazing experience. At the start of the game, you'll have those butterflies, but once you get that first hit in, it all goes away, and you just play.
Yeah, and Devin, what was your experience like?
Honestly, I remember my first time in grade 10 playing it. It's special because you've seen videos about people in the States, and now like you actually get to experience it. You get to be on the field in the thick of it. It's just it's a little distracting at first, I'll be honest, but I think
Yeah,
as the time goes
you're
by,
human. Yeah,
it's all right. But I think you just, for me especially, I just come back to the fact like it's just a game. There's nothing special about it, honestly. So I try to keep myself distant from that. But
yeah, yeah. You know what? You guys have really good heads on your shoulders, and it's no wonder you've both been as successful as you have been. But I can't. Unfortunately, I played at a high school in Red Deer, so I definitely never played in an environment like that. But even myself as a player, and Amari can probably feel the same. Sometimes we get to play games at McMahon Stadium in our league, in the Alberta Football League, and it's still really cool, even though there's only like 300 people there at most. But it's still cool, right? And then when you fill all those seats up, I would say take a moment and enjoy it, and then move on. But I think it's one of those things where you guys, you're going to get 3 of these in your life, and so definitely take a moment, take it in, and enjoy it. And I know your coach should too. And I think because it's just you don't get a lot of those moments in life. And I like what you said earlier too, Coach. You said we don't get a lot of these opportunities, and it's true, right? The luckiest people on earth maybe get to play 100 football games in their entire life, maybe, right? So at most you play 20 high school games in your entire life. So these days are very rare, and it's important to appreciate them in the moment, especially in a situation like that. Omari, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to do, I guess, I know Coach Deluzzi has to roll here soon, so I'll get the last question I want for him. There'll be last two, actually, and I'll let him wrap up with that. So the first one, I know you have a lot of players who've gone to play higher level. Can you share a story about one of your proudest moments as a coach to see a player navigate through adversity, whatever their life, outside of football, inside of football, to where they got to their point now, and just a cool story that you like to share back to the kids of how football has helped show them opportunities that they've either taken or not taken or anything like that, then you want to say there. And then your last question, what's a coaching nugget that you want to share, like a very tangible nugget that you want to share to where then if I was a new coach listening in, getting knowledge, what would be something that you share to say, hey, like you want to do this and here's why and everything? Because one coaching nugget that we heard from Coach Chris Glass, he said that, instead of taking, he gave us a nugget here that I use in the men's league whenever we didn't have enough guys is just take the penalty and then, continue on with the punt. But do you have any of those like nuggets you want to share? I know it's the last two here is just to get those two in, but I'll let you answer the first one, then get to the nugget.
It's geez, like I said, I've been so blessed to have worked with so many unbelievable kids here, and I was really, trying to think about this, but um, this is pretty recent, but it was 2021, so just coming off to COVID, and we had a player named Sylvester Abello, and plays for the Dinos. He's a D lineman for the Dinos. There's three Abello brothers that that played for them, but when he came to us in grade 10, he never played football before. He was like a bad soccer goalie. I just remember asking him, you should play football. And he goes, football? Yeah, I'll play like goalie in football. I go, no. I like football with the helmet. And so he played, he kind of played junior football, really didn't know what he was doing. Then we had COVID. And so he didn't get to play that year. And then that 2021 year, just came back and he was like a monster. He was like 6'5", he was like 260. Uh, and in our city championship game that year, he played at that size over 100 snaps. And I was just, it was an amazing feat because kids nowadays, there are kids that play both ways and stuff like that, but it's not, other than Raymond, they do it better than everybody. I don't know how they do it, but kids just don't play two ways like they used to. And he basically came off for like, every kick and then everything else he was throwing on the field. And when we graded him and, on the O line and D line, he pretty much had a perfect game. And I was just so proud of him. And he played so
Wow.
hard. And I remember at the end of the game, people were celebrating and going crazy. And he was exhausted. He just wanted to go home and go to sleep. And I was just really proud of him because we had to, we really had to count on him. What it's to play hard and he really did. And it's funny, as coaches you always say, player hardest, and like he had nothing left. Like if that game went into overtime, I think he would have just sat on the bench and not gotten up. You just would have had to call timeout. So really, really proud of that. Obviously, coaching, Eamon and Dean and seeing what those guys are doing now is is pretty spectacular, playing at such a high, playing at such a high level, which is amazing. But one thing with those guys that I try to, tell the kids that we have now is they just competed so hard in everything. It didn't matter if it was the weight room, it didn't matter if it was a practice before a game or, obviously a play in a game. They always went 100%. And I think that's a good lesson for kids to learn and to follow and to really try to be to to act like. And any player that we've had that has gone on and it's done really good things has kind of had that where they've always gone hard. It didn't matter what the situation was, didn't matter what part of the year. So that's something that I think that I try to tell the kids. In terms of a coaching nugget, again, I talk about the mentor stuff too, but something that I've learned lots is there's always different ways to solve a problem. And what I mean by problem is, you. I don't think as a coach you should be glued to any system, whether it's a spread passing game or a running game, or you're a 3-4 guy or a 4-3 guy. I think you gotta, I think you gotta go with the kids you have, and I think early on as a coach, I tried to, shove those, square pegs into the round holes. And I just learned that you want to be flexible. And, one year you might be teaching one technique, and the next year, because of the kids you have, be flexible enough to switch that technique. And as long as you're teaching the kind of the good basics and good understandings, it really doesn't matter what kind of system that you run. So that'd be one nugget that I'd want young coaches to really be flexible and be kind of open in their thinking.
Nice. I love that, and I'll mention, I guess, my in regards for you, just hey, appreciate you coming on and everything. I know you mentioned that you had a hard cap here, so appreciate your time and everything, and looking forward to seeing the matchup here against St. Francis. I know we got one more question each for Lucas and Dev, and then we'll wrap it up here. But yeah, TJ, anything you want to say before you let Coach go?
No, I really appreciate it, Coach. I really like what you said there. Be flexible. I've that's exactly how I feel as the D coordinator in Sylvan. I am all about, last year I ran a blitzing 4-3. This year I've run almost no blitzing 3-5 look because of the personnel that I have. And I think that's the greatest tip you could ever get. I got that from coaching basketball, because you're forced to do that in basketball, because you cannot run the same offense with a bunch of 5'2" compared to a bunch of 6'3", right? So that's always been something I've learned from basketball. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing this stuff, and really good luck this weekend, and just enjoy it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. And just talking to Lucas and Devin, they're great kids, and that's something too. Like, I think a lot of people, and I know the other coaches that I work with at school feel the same way. Like, we're really lucky to be working with the kids that we have. And I always I get more from coaching these kids than I give them. And
All right.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
All right. All right. And so, Dev, Lucas, last question here we got for you guys. So I know when you think of football playing a high level, it's the pros, it's finishing university, everything, which is always great. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, and what's your ultimate football dream? Now, include football, and then also have a version of that outside of football, because I know that's one thing where we like to tie identity to one side, and as I'm sure you guys have heard from coaches and mentors and influences in your life, it's good to have a personality outside of football. So what does that look like for you both?
I hope to play at the next level of football. My ultimate dream is to play for as long as I can and at the highest level possible. And like outside of football, I just want to have good job, good family, all that. So yeah.
Is there an industry you're wanting to learn about?
Not I'm still trying to figure it out right now. So
Yeah, of course. I know it's always that I never always like that question of like, what do I want to do? What exactly do you want to do? And it's just like, I don't know exactly what I do. And I always like the industry, because I'm like, oh, like there's piloting, there's business, there's personal training, like there's so many things to do and pick from. Would you have like a top 3 of like what your interests lie in?
probably business, law, and yeah, those are basically what I'm looking at right now.
There you go. It's an area to focus on and target in on, and it's exciting to see you further grow and develop and go from there.
Nothing like a lawyer and a linebacker, man. That's perfect.
Laying the law and the wood.
Oh, you just got it, Omari. There's another T-shirt.
That's a T-shirt right
Laying
there.
the law and the wood. Hey, trademark that.
Yeah, we'll put that on a shirt. Lucas Scott laying the law in the wood.
That's really good.
And Dev, for you,
So I think every person's dream, like especially our age, is to play football for as long as you can. Just like playing at the next level, playing pro. It's obviously a dream of mine, and I'm sure a dream of every kid. And I think from a life perspective, I think obviously like just trying to be the most successful you can be, raising a good family, living, the life you want to live. And yeah, for me, that's just having a family and just being as happy as I can and being the best person I can be.
That's awesome, dude. You know what? That's really good. I'm actually my wife's pregnant right now and gonna have a baby soon, and that's exactly what was my dream as well, as to raise a family. And I can tell you that's a great thing to have, and a great attitude to have moving forward. So a really cool answer. Omari, anything else for these guys before we let them go and do their homework, as Coach said?
yeah, they got some homework to do. Just any shout outs you want to give to anyone, anyone you're grateful for. Actually, no, I just have a question in mind. So here's a question I want to say, because I think there's always a point in our lives where we're always chasing future goals, and like I'm trying to like aspire to the next goal. What would you tell your 10-year-old self as you're starting your first practice? What would you say to your past self and what message you tell them?
That's a good question, Omari. Got me thinking.
I think, I just tell myself to like live in the now, focus on what you have to do now, don't focus on the future, and just do what you have to do now.
For me, I think just don't give up, because I had to work my way to where I am now, and obviously it's not something easy. It takes time, it's patient, and I also think just cherish your teammates, just cherish everyone you have, blocking or just whatever they do for you, and know that like football, like it's not like hockey or soccer where it could be like a one-man sport or anything. This is like the true team sport, in my opinion. Like it doesn't get more like team aspect than football. And I think you had to cherish every person on that team, because we all push each other to be better, and we're all there for each other, and we're going to make each other better. I think that.
I like it. I like it. And Tej, I think we got to ask that for ourselves. I think we've got both for ourselves thinking with that one.
Yeah. Wow. That's a really good question. And I mean, I was 10 years old a long time ago now, but God, you guys were so good at that. What would I tell my 10? You go first, Omari. I got to think a little bit. That is. It's just so far long ago. These guys 10 years old was only like 6 years ago, right? So it's a lot longer for you and me, Omari. What was I like at 10 years old? I don't even know.
Because if I had to relate to football and then 10 year old, like if anything, my first practice, I like my very first practice, I was I had a lot of influences and everything, but I would tell my 10-year-old self, or I think it was more like 12, getting to football was, don't be as scared as you think you are. Because I think that was one thing where I battled a lot with, like, am I gonna get hurt or whatnot? And like, this is it's crazy to think of what my mentality was back then to now, and tell myself like, hey, it's not as what you think it is. Dive right in, and enjoy it. And that's one thing now where I find later in my, I guess post, I won't say post competitive, but post like junior onto the men's now, is just enjoying every moment, because we're on the tail end of our career where you guys have lots of football left, and it's just enjoying those moments. But if I had to really narrow it down, it's don't be as scared as you think. Don't be as scared as what you perceive it as, because the game's going to show you a lot more than what you perceive it to be in that small mind thinking I was back then.
Yeah, you know what? I think I got it. And this was such a great question, Omari. What would we tell ourselves at 10 years old? And I think this could be a question that every human asks himself in any area of life. But football related, for me, it would be, I would tell myself to understand that the losing was going to be worth it when you win. And, for me, I struggled. I didn't win a championship. I started playing football at 8 years old and did not win a championship until I was over 30, and I'm 36 now and won it 3 years ago, so 33. Lost a lot of championship games, about 8 of them throughout my career, and they were all just completely devastating because I just so badly wanted to win. I wanted to feel what it was like to finish with a win and to celebrate that with my teammates, and to do it on the Bucks after 11 years on the Bucks. We lost 10 years in a row on the Bucks before I finally, in my 11th year, got to win a championship. And so that's what I would tell myself is that you got to go through it, you got to feel it, and you got to get better and use it for motivation. And that's always what I did, but it was hard. And if I could go back and tell myself that it's going to be okay and to just do it because it's going to be worth it when you win, because it was worth it when we won. I have some of the best memories of my life and from that moment. So that's what I would tell myself. And a really cool question, Omar. I really appreciate that. So go ahead and close this out if you got nothing left.
Let's wrap it up. Lucas, Dev, any shout outs you want to give to anyone at all? You gotta get to one of mom and dad, so they want to hear it. Anyone to shout out to, mom, dad, girlfriend, anything like that? Anyone to shout out, coaches, just anyone who you appreciate along your journey so far?
Obviously, I appreciate my parents. They showed me everything. Dad taught me everything I know. And I just want to appreciate Coach and our program and all of our coaches for all they do for us. And yeah.
Awesome, dude.
I think my parents made me who I am, just learning to be a respectful young man. And I think that's the most important. Having coaches like Amari and Coach DeLuzio, be there in my journey is something that I find it's really special to me. And I really appreciate that. And obviously, as a running back, as a back, the O-line to me is I can't do anything without those guys and just anyone who blocks in general. And I really appreciate you guys. And yeah, that's about it.
Awesome.
Right.
Thanks, buddy.
Love it. Well, hey, appreciate you guys coming on. Let you guys get your homework, calculus, bio, math, whatever it is, sports science. I don't know if even they give you homework in sports science, but maybe it's just push-ups. But anyways, appreciate you both coming on. Looking forward to see you guys ball out here. 6:30 Friday night. The game is going to be on TV, Telus Optic TV channel 1985. Pretty cool. You guys have it actually like a live stream televised TV game, so that's pretty cool. You're going to be on TV. Make sure you guys know where the camera is and wave anytime you get a sack or a big player like that. I think it'd be funny to do. Appreciate everyone tuning in. You can always check out this podcast here on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. This is always an exciting time to shine some light on Alberta high school football here. I know it's been one on our list to get ND here, and pumped to have both Coach DeLuzio, both of some top athletes from the team, and then we're looking forward to the next one. So it's an exciting time right now to cover football, and I feel like that's been the trend of just football in Alberta. It's always been on an incline, and it's really starting to show here with more successful programs, with very sustainable programs with success.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Amari. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate you. Good luck coming this weekend. And I hope that you guys stay safe and just have a great game and enjoy it. Enjoy the time, enjoy the atmosphere, and soak it all in. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for having us.
You bet. Take care.
Right. See y'all.
Take care, guys.